Welcome on in to the season 3 of the All Aussie Rules football podcast. Another season is just around the corner. 44 days at time of release of this episode. Crazy to think 2026 is so close. I'm John. I'm your host here at All Aussie Rules. We've got another big season coming up for the podcast and for the content all around that we do. So we're going to run through that today. That's going to be the start of this episode, looking at pretty much all our pre-season plans for content-wise, for the podcast, for the YouTube channel, and everything else. So stick around. We're going to go through all that shortly, and then we're going to run through best players in the competition heading into the season, according to me here at All Aussie Rules. Top 10 players from basically all positions in the competition. Maybe not so much on what they did last year, more as much on that as on what we think we're going to see this year. So that's the plan for today. We'll jump into it. All Aussie Rules. This goes live 3 places: Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Make sure you follow, make sure you like, rate the podcast, all of that sort of stuff, depending on what platform you're on. It all helps. Share with your friends. We've got a big season coming up, and I've got a lot of plans of what we're going to do. But let's jump into it. Let's have a look at what we've got here today. So this is just our little podcast schedule leading into the first games of the season. So this is every podcast episode that we're going to be releasing over the next 2.5 months leading into the first game of the season. I'll say while we're here, before we start reading through these and going through each episode, if you have any thoughts, opinions, anything you'd like to see from this channel, or either here in the podcast, on the YouTube channel, or on any of our social medias, make sure you get in touch. There's plenty of ways to do that. Obviously, the comment section of this episode, email AllAussieRules at gmail.com. All the social medias, which we'll go through all the ones at the end of this episode of what we've got, but there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's Blue Sky, TikTok. I don't know if I said TikTok yet or not, but anyway, there's plenty of options there, so make sure you reach out. Anything you want to see, let me know, and I'll see if I can do it. So the plan is, this is obviously episode 1 of 2026. So that's going out today on the 20th of January, 2026 plan and best players. Next week on the 27th of January. So we'll be starting the season with 1 episode per week before we move into 2 episodes per week in a few weeks' time. Episode 2 next week, next Tuesday, AFL Club List Analysis. So we're going to go through every single team, do a little analysis of their list, age profile, experience profile, who has elite players, who doesn't, based on last year's numbers. We'll go through all of that next week on Tuesday, the 27th of January, so make sure you come back for that one. Followed by the week after, we've got every team's best 23s. I've put them together. I've actually just finished them. I think it was yesterday, so we're just making the graphics for that now. So that's coming up as well. That will be quite some, well, I won't say controversial, but there'll be some opinions certainly had in that episode, so make sure you come back for that one. Episode 4 will be our AFL tier list and expectations for each team. What we think would be pass marks for teams and that sort of thing is what we'll be talking about in that one. So that's the 10th of February. Week later, on the 16th, of February, we'll be predicting every single match of the 2026 season, who's going to win them all. We won't go through every single game in this episode. Well, maybe we will. We'll see how long it takes. But I'll be predicting every game, weekly updates on the ladder, all that sort of stuff. And we'll see where your team will finish this season according to that. Episode 6 on the 20th of February. We're moving into 2 episodes a week from here on in. We start with season predictions. So this will be all of our picks for all the awards: Rising Star, Brownlow, Premiership, Wooden Spoon, Coleman Medal, anything else. Maybe some all Australian picks, we'll see. But that will all be going down on the 20th of February. On the 23rd of February, hopefully the match sims are finished by then. We don't have exact dates for every match sim just yet, but I'd say they're probably going to be done by then. If they're not, then some might carry over to the next episode. But match sim reviews will be on the 23rd of February. I would imagine, like last season, all games will be filmed. So we'll be watching them. We'll be giving you all of our thoughts and opinions on those matches. Episode 8 will be the 27th of February, and that is going to be our AFL season preview. We'll have a quick look at every club. We'll look at everything you need to know about what's coming up in 2026 for your club and for the rest of the league. We'll look at the rule changes that are in, what effect that's going to have, all of that sort of stuff. Episode 9 will be our review of all the preseason matches, so all the 9 preseason matches will be done, so they'll go live on the 2nd of March. And then the big one on the 5th of March, mark it in your calendars, opening round preview. Previewing all 5 matches in that opening weekend of the AFL 2026 season. So that's everything that's coming up podcast-wise. We'll now jump across, and this is our preseason previews. These will go live on the YouTube channel and only the YouTube channel. So make sure if you haven't already, you do subscribe over at YouTube, All Aussie Rules. We do tons of videos. All these podcasts do go live on there. We also do plenty of other videos. Typically, obviously, pre-season, we've got one for every single team. Throughout the season, we scatter some videos here and there as well as the podcast, as well as mid-season reviews, end-of-season reviews, pretty much everything you need to know about AFL. We'll bring it to you throughout the season on YouTube, so go check it out. So we'll be kicking off pre-season previews on the 2nd of February with Adelaide. We'll be working our way through alphabetically. Pretty much every day that there's not a podcast episode going live is just about going to be a pre-season preview for the month of February. It's going to be a busy month. It's going to be a big month. There's going to be plenty of content in these previews. We'll be looking at last year's numbers. We'll be looking at kind of the trajectory of each club. We'll be looking at the best 23, a bit of a depth chart for each club, a look at their fixture, and make some little predictions on what we expect to see from each club for the year. So each of these videos will probably be about 20 to 30 minutes. As you can see, the dates for each team's there, but take note of when your club is, but don't feel bad if you go and watch every episode, because there are going to be plenty of content, plenty of interesting things, I think, from all of these episodes. So, yeah, All Aussie Rules on the YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you go hit that follow button. And like these videos, if you enjoy them, leave a comment in each one of them as well, if you enjoy it. So that's pretty much all the content we have coming up. As I said, make sure you reach out. If there's anything you want to see from us here at All Aussie Rules, I like to do things a little different than most. I don't really do the clickbait. I don't do outrageous takes just to get clicks. Everything I say, everything I put out, I truly believe. I'm not here. The reason I started it 2 years ago was because there's too much clickbait in the world of football media, all sports media, maybe just media full stop. But I want to bring content that is interesting, that's important, and that can kind of grow a community of people that think the same, that aren't as interested in just outrageous takes and commenting and them growing and growing from that. Everything I say, I truly believe. So that's pretty much a sum up, of everything that is coming up over the next almost 2 months leading into AFL 2026. As I said, there's other content. We're going to be posting stuff on Instagram throughout the time as well. What exactly those posts entail, we'll see. TikTok, we're doing a top 50 players countdown in the lead up to AFL 2026 season. So there's one player each day, top 50, obviously counting down one a day. I think today was number 45 at time of recording. So that was Isaac Heaney. I believe. So tomorrow is number 44, or today at time of the release of this episode. So if you haven't already, go follow that. Go check out all that content. So there's plenty of stuff happening all over the socials of All Aussie Rules heading into the season as well. Let's jump into the best players in the competition. So we've done this by position. We're doing about 10 players per position. Outside of midfielders, we've done 20, just because there's such an abundance of really good midfielders. I just wanted to showcase a little extra in that area. Worth noting, players are by last year's position. So first off, the one major one is probably the first one here, Nashaya Wanganeen-Malira. He's not a general defender, really, in 2026, I wouldn't imagine. I think we'll see him full-time inside mid, basically. And when he's not, he's probably going to go forward because he can kick goals. So, yes, he was a general defender technically last year, just enough. He did play inside mid most of the second half of the year, but overall, according to our numbers, he was a general defender, slightly more. But anyway, he's clearly number one in this brigade. If he was in the inside mids, he'd be clearly top 3, I think. He's an absolute weapon. You look at what he did against Melbourne in round 17 or wherever that was, maybe slightly later than that, about round 17 to 20, somewhere in there. Absolutely tore that game apart. He did that multiple times, especially in the second half of the year. He continues that sort of form, he will clearly be in the top 3 players in the competition this season, in my opinion. He was absolutely outstanding. Nick Blakey, the Lizard, runs, carries, breaks the game open. He takes risks. Sometimes they backfire a little bit on him, but he's an absolute weapon. There is no doubt about it. He can change a game on his own with his ability to run and break that game open. Jordan Clark from Fremantle, clearly one of the better accumulators in the back half of the field. He also defends pretty well as well, so he's number 3 for us. Nick Vlosten, I think his abilities and skills get overshadowed a little bit by the fact that, maybe not overshadowed isn't potentially the right word, but overlooked, I think, because of the fact that he's on a team that is not winning that many games over the last couple of seasons, but he's probably in career best form last season. He was absolutely fantastic. Had a lot of work to do and lived up to it most of the way through. So Nick Vlosten at 4. Bailey Dale, number 5, nearly cracked the 50 disposals in a game mark once last year against St Kilda, I think it was. Was it St Kilda or Essendon? One of them. Absolutely fantastic season from him. He's a ball winner. He's a ball user. Really good player. Tom Stewart, obviously the unlucky one in the grand final, missing out due to concussion. He can play general defender. He can move into midfield if he's needed. He can play loose back. He can man people up. He's a very versatile player. And he's very important to that Geelong defence line. So, big season coming up for him. Jack Sinclair from St Kilda. He's at 7. Interesting year ahead for him. Obviously, Wanganeen-Malira's more midfield time. Maybe give Sinclair more of the first option out of that defence. It's a St Kilda team that's going to be a lot different in 2026 than it was in 2025. Obviously, quite a few big names joining the club. So his role probably won't really change, but there certainly will be a lot of new names around him. Potentially Sam Flanders will be one of those ones that maybe changes Sinclair's role a little bit, because depending what they plan with Sam Flanders, he's certainly someone that can run off the back line. So we'll see how that plays out. Dane Zorko, we've got at number 8. He's been fantastic over the last few years, let's be honest. Back-to-back premierships at Brisbane, and he has been a pivotal member of that. His final series last year was really, really good. He's 36 or 37 years old, however old he is now, and still playing as good football as he ever has. So he's been fantastic. Lockie Whitfield, another one that's been around for a while. Him and Lockie Ash at GWS both had fantastic seasons last year. Lockie Whitfield slightly ended up above him in our rating system. And that part of the Orange Tsunami. They've already started recruiting the next wave of Tsunami players for GWS, halfback flankers that have good running capacity and good foot skills. So maybe they'll start transitioning over the next couple of years, bringing them in. But Lockie Whitfield certainly still has another year or two in him. Number 10, Josh Dacos for Collingwood. We'll see what they do with him this year. I think, in my opinion, moving him more midfield time would be beneficial. Obviously, he was an outside mid a couple years ago, went back last year, was fantastic at that role. But I think in the long term, giving him more inside midfield time would be hugely beneficial for him. You look at what he did against Gold Coast in round 17, I think it was. That fourth quarter was absolutely fantastic. So maybe some more midfield time for Josh Dacos in 2026. Moving on to key defenders. Starting with arguably been our number one defender going into the season the last few years. 2024 wasn't his best year, a lot of injuries, but Sam Taylor from GWS was back to his best last year, was fantastic. Certainly in that top couple key defenders every year, and I would expect we'll probably see that again in 2026 from Sam Taylor. Harris Andrews, co-captain of the Brisbane Lions the last couple of years for their premierships. Absolute crucial role for him each week. He can absolutely change games as a key defender. His ability to read the ball, his ability to intercept, use the ball well, and just lock down opposition players, but also come off his opponent and force an outnumber. He's very, very good at. Probably the youngest player on this list, looking at it, maybe, is Josh Worrell from Adelaide. Had a career best year last year. If he can improve again on that, he will be absolutely in this talk again for All-Australian. He was probably a little bit unlucky not to be All-Australian in 2025. So 2026 certainly could be that year for him. He was a pivotal member of the backline of the team that won the minor premiership last year. So really, really good year from him. Callum Wilkie from St Kilda. He's going to get a little bit of help this year with Jack Silvani also joining the crew. Obviously, they did lose Josh Battle the year before. Big season again from Callum Wilkie and pretty much everyone from St Kilda. There's going to be a lot of eyes on them this year because they did spend up big in free agency. They've gone and spent big. So we expect some decent results from this St Kilda team. The backline, hopefully, they'll be hoping won't maybe have to do quite as much work this year, but we'll see how that plays out. As you can see on that list, there is 2 St Kilda players in that top 10 key defenders according to us. Sam Collins, number 5, absolute gun from Gold Coast. Maybe the last 2 years have been a little bit down. He was probably top 3 back in 2024, but still an absolute gun down back. Jacob Wiedering, arguably a lot of people would claim that he is the number 1 key defender in the competition. We have him in that conversation. We've got him 6th going into 2026. He reads the ball really well. He plays his role very well. It's going to be an interesting year for Carlton, so we'll see how that shapes up. He's going to potentially have a little bit of work to do down there, depending what their midfield delivers them this year. Obviously, they'll be wanting a bounce-back year from players like Paddy Cripps, who perhaps had a bit of a down year in 2025. But Wiedering, you know what you're going to get from him week in, week out, and that's an absolute contest from him. So he's very good. Stephen May at 7 for Melbourne. This is an interesting one because they clearly wanted him out. That didn't happen. They're kind of trying to go young, but they've still got plenty of old players as well. So I don't know what this Melbourne team has got entailed for them in 2026. It's almost a full reset coming up, I think, at the end of this year. So we'll see if that's what happens or not. But Stephen May's in for an interesting year. Sicily from Hawthorn, key defender, general defender sometimes, swingman up to the forward line at other times. You know what you're going to get from him week in, week out. He's an absolute competitor. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He'll be out there the whole way through every game, trying to win it, and pretty much in the thick of it most weeks. Number 9, Darcy Moore from Collingwood, their captain. Had a good year last year without being outstanding. 2023 for him was his really good year. 24, 25, perhaps a little bit down on that year, but still, last year was a slight improvement on 2024. Jack Silvani from St Kilda, first year at a new club. We'll see how that shapes up. Obviously, changed to a key defender last season for the first half of the year before getting injured, and showed some really, really good ability down back. And he can always swing forward if need be, to be a key forward target, which is also beneficial because obviously we know that he spent the first however many 6-7 years of his career as a key forward, so he has good ability around goals. I think key defence has certainly been a beneficial change for him, but he's also, as I said, someone that can swing forward if need be. Speaking of the forward line, here are our top 10 general forwards heading into 2026. Starting at the top with Geelong's Brian Myers. We all know what he can do. In that forward half, he hits targets, he turns games, the goal assist king from a couple of years ago, he still does a really good job of it. Most of Geelong's scores he's involved in, a really high percentage of them, because he's just someone that they want using the ball as often as possible. He's an absolute gun. So I expect another big year from him. While his numbers haven't really improved that much since he joined the league, he started so quickly and so well that they've just kind of stayed pretty steady, which is really, really good. But if he does improve them, watch out. Paul Curtis, what a season he had for North Melbourne last year in a team that really struggled offensively at times, and just struggled all around the ground at times. This is a team that's starting to get an age profile that they should start winning more games. There's not many more excuses for them. And if they do start getting the ball forward a bit more, players like Paul Curtis and Nick Larkey will be the ones that benefit the most from that, because they are very efficient at getting goals from opportunities. So watch out if they do start getting better ball use and better ball delivery from that midfield. This is a pretty solid forward line. Like, just those two together, I think, are massive. A really good duo, and if they had better pieces around them, around the rest of the ground, especially that defence is a bit of an issue in my opinion. But they would be clearly seen as one of the best forward duos in the competition. So, yeah, really good from Paul Curtis. Toby Green, he's always on this list. A couple of years ago, he was number 1. He's getting on in age, but, I mean, he keeps delivering. He talks the talk, he walks the walk. Toby Green is an absolute gun. He's someone that, I mean, you love to watch play football. Love him or hate him off the field and away from the ball. That's up to you. But on the footy field, he gets the job done. Next up, we got Sean Manor from Geelong. Fantastic season from him last year. I think it was his best season. The best of what we've seen from him. He was really, really good. And important in this Geelong team, making it to the grand final. And obviously that wasn't the best result for them, but a really good year. Dylan Moore from Hawthorn, 2024 was probably their most important player through the first 12 to 13 weeks. Maybe in the second half of the year, some other players started stepping up and didn't need him as much. And same can be said last year. They've got a lot more consistency across the ground, but his output is always really, really good week in, week out. Josh Rochelli's an interesting one from Adelaide. Probably career best numbers last year. Did miss about 10 games throughout the season, but did average 1.9 goals per game, which is a career high. If he can improve on that again, he will be considered one of the better small, medium forwards in the competition. Is he capable of that? I think absolutely. Will we see that where we'll wait and see. He's at season 5 or 6 now in his AFL career, which is about the point where you expect, okay, knuckle down, start getting the results. This is approaching towards the time where you're getting towards your best football for the next 4 or 5 years. So this is where we may see him explode. We'll see. Jack Ginnivan, another Hawthorn small forward that can play midfield minutes, more of the outside mid game, whereas Nick Watson probably looks more like someone that goes inside mid at times. But Ginnivan, he showed it a couple times. He did it against Collingwood, where he kicked 2 or 3 goals, and had 30-odd touches. He's someone that can turn a game. He's a spark plug, and we'll see if he can deliver on that this year. Cade Chandler from the Demons. I think his 2024 was better than his 2025, in my opinion. Still had a really good year. I think still has plenty of potential to be in the top 5 or so smaller, medium-sized forwards that also play a little bit of midfield minutes. A really good player there. Jamie Elliott coming off career best year at Collingwood. He was absolutely outstanding. Week in, week out last year for Collingwood. Managed to kick goals most weeks. Multiple goals a lot of those times. By far his best season he's had. Obviously been very injury-interrupted career. But finally getting some reward last year. And Alex Neil-Bullen played his first season. I wrote Melbourne. Oh, jeez. What a terrible effort that is on this slide. He's clearly an Adelaide general forward. And he was an Adelaide player all of last year, so please ignore that. Yeah, that's thrown me now. Yeah, played last year at Adelaide, first year. Probably some teething issues at times. His numbers weren't quite as big as they were at Melbourne. I think we can get a bit more of a bounce back to his best season this year. We'll see if that plays out. But he's someone that you do want the ball in his hands. There's no doubt about it. He's a gun. With the ball, he can make things happen. And if Adelaide are to improve on what they did last year, Neil-Bullen will probably be a key factor towards that, I think. Key forwards. If you're not new around here, you probably know that I talk up Sam Darcy a fair bit. He is an absolute gun footballer. He's going to be potentially an absolute AFL game-changing player. How you're going to stop this guy is beyond me, because I only watched him once live last year, but boy did he tear that game apart. That was against Collingwood in round 2. And how Bulldogs didn't win that with the way Darcy played is a little bit staggering, because he's someone that when he's on, you can't stop him. He's just that tall. He's that strong. He marks it really well. He reads the play really well. He can pinch it in the ruck. He kicks pretty accurately as well most of the time. He's just going to be someone that can really turn this whole league upside down. He's going to be very hard to stop over the next 5 to 10 years, which is crazy to think. Number 2, we got last year's Coleman medalist, Jeremy Cameron. Ended up with about 80 goals on the season. Was absolutely fantastic throughout. Obviously, kicked 11 against North Melbourne. He had plenty of other big games as well. He's a gun. There's no doubt about it. He's getting on in age, so probably will be tough each year to back up those same numbers, but he's shown over his career he can be an absolute gun. Last year he was more of that goal-kicking mode, whereas maybe the previous couple years he was more the high half-forward target, where he's running around a lot, getting up to 20, 25 touches some weeks, but still kicking 3 or 4 goals as well. So he's someone that can absolutely turn games, as are most people on this list. Next up, Adelaide, Riley Thilthorpe, another one that could absolutely be a league changer. You saw what he did most of last year. He was fantastic. His ability to win the ball, kick goals. He's a big body. He's still very young. He's going to be an absolute weapon over the next 10 years. Jesse Hogan, 2 years ago, won the Coleman medal. Last year, injuries plagued his season from the start. broken thumb, I think, before the first game, and then minor injuries throughout the season. He never quite got to the levels that he did in 2024 when he was the best one-on-one forward in the competition by an absolute mile. If he's back to that, GWS will be tough to beat this year. That's probably their biggest thing, I think, going into this season is Jesse Hogan. Harry Mackay from Carlton put up some good numbers when he was playing last year. He did miss a little bit of football. It's going to be an interesting year for him. I've just realised what I've done on the bottom row as well. Again, put the wrong team. But yes, Harry Mackay, without Charlie Curnow this season, is going to be an interesting one for him. I think he's an absolute weapon of a target. Maybe his best might be behind him. We'll see. I think he was very good last year. His numbers were very good. We'll see how that plays out. Jack Gunston, coming off career best year in year, 13 or 14 or whatever it is in the league. He was sensational last year. A really good target, really good finisher in front of goals, made use of every opportunity. I don't think Hawthorn can expect a 70-plus goal season from him again this year, but if they can get a 50-goal season from him, they'd be pretty happy with that, I think. Aaron Norton from the Bulldogs, he looks so much better when Sam Darcy's out there. You look at that second half of the year, him and Darcy were absolutely tearing games apart. He is so much better when he's not the main target. And we'll see another big year from him, no doubt, where he probably kicks 50-plus goals. Mitch Georgiadis is someone that I can see being top 3 key forwards in the competition. He kicks goals for fun. He's a really good target. He leads well. He's a strong grab. When he's finishing his shots at goal, he's a very, very good player. So, big year from Georgiadis. It will be an interesting year for Port Adelaide. I don't think too many people expect too much, but I mean, they've still got Butters and Rose in that midfield. Georgiadis up front. I wouldn't completely write their check. I don't think they're going to go deep, but there's no reason why they can't win 10 to 13 games for the season. It might not be enough for finals, but we'll see. Ben King from Gold Coast, I think he finished 2nd or 3rd in the Coleman last year. Fantastic year from him. Fantastic play from him. He doesn't probably get enough of the ball. I'd like to see a bit more of him getting the football. Pretty much every time he touches a ball, it's a shot at goal for him. We'd like to see that percentage drop down because he's getting more touches, even if he's only kicking the same amount of goals. A few more touches from him I would like to see. Number 10, another one that I've put the wrong team forward. Charlie Curnow's clearly gone to Sydney this year. Fantastic player, 2-time Coleman medalist. Obviously, injuries really hampered his season last year, but if he's fit and firing, he's going to be very tough to stop in this Sydney team. It's probably what Sydney have been missing since Buddy left, is that number 1 key target. I just don't think Joel Amartey is a number 1 key target. As a second target, I think Joel Amartey could be quite efficient. And now that Charlie Curnow's there, I think that will really benefit the rest of that forward line up in Sydney. Obviously, a big season coming up for them. They missed finals just last year. They finished 10th after a really slow start to the year. So, big year for Sydney. I think most people expect this Sydney team to be making it finals this year and potentially even making it quite deep into the finals campaign. Midfielders were done top 20 instead of the top 10, like the other positions. No surprise who we got at number 1. He's been number 1 for the last couple of seasons. Started and finished the seasons as our number 1 player, and that's Marcus Bontempelli. A midfielder that can do it all. Goes forward, kicks goals, wins centre clearances, changes games. He's an absolute jet. And yeah, I fully expect to see another big year from him. Zach Butters potentially was at his best last season. Might have been his career best year. He's absolutely fantastic. We'll see what happens with him post this season, whether he stays at Port Adelaide or he does head to Victoria like most people expect him to. but he's an absolute gun. He wins a lot of the footy, and yeah, he's very, very important to that Port Adelaide midfield. Nick Dacos at 3. A lot of people might have him 1 or 2. We've got him at 3 at the moment. I think 2023 is probably his best season still, which was his second season. 2024, he had to play more contested games. Last year, he was back to more uncontested again. He was really good, don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's taken off quite as much, but I think the roof is still there. Like, he's still got a lot of room to grow. So he's very young still. So we'll see what happens with Nick Dacos, but he's certainly someone that could be anywhere in that top 5 at the end of this season. Maxi Holmes from Geelong, maybe a little bit higher than a lot of people would have him. He's crucial. He was huge in that grand final loss last year. He was clearly Geelong's best player. He missed a few targets early game, but he was absolutely fantastic. Racked up the touches. I expect another big year from him. Number 5 is Matt Rao, the Brownlow medalist from last year. Contested bull. He has been since he joined the league, and we don't expect that to change anytime soon. This Gold Coast midfield is pretty stacked this year with Petrarca joining them, but we fully expect another big season from Matty Rao. Number 6, Jordan Dawson, Adelaide captain. Fantastic season from him last year, probably career best year. After 2024 was a little bit of a down year for him. Maybe needs a little bit more support in that midfield. Obviously, Isaac Rankin's another one that plays midfield and forward with them. Saligo maybe didn't take that next step last year, which is probably that factor, I think, that just maybe hurt them a little bit in the end. But we'll see if that happens this year. Ed Richards from the Bulldogs at points last year was arguably number 1 player in the competition. Ever since joining the midfield mid-season the year before, he has absolutely gone leaps and bounds. Absolute gun player. He racks up the disposals, gets the clearances. He's very crucial to the Bulldogs team that is very stacked in their midfield and forward lines. Noah Anderson at number 8. A lot of people probably thought he was the better option for the Brownlow last year from Gold Coast. He was fantastic, don't get me wrong. But I did have Matt Rao slightly ahead of him, I think, by 1 vote in my Brownlow tally. Yeah, Noah Anderson, fantastic Gold Coast captain. He kicked some very important goals last year too. So if he can continue that trend, this Gold Coast team will be all right. Andrew Brayshaw from Fremantle, probably his best season last year as well, as Fremantle made the finals. Just snuck in there, had a home final and then lost. He was fantastic throughout most of the season. It's him and Sarong in the midfield, but they get Hayden Young back, hopefully. He stays injury-free. I think one of the most underrated group of 3 midfielders in the competition. Obviously, a lot of people talk about like the Gold Coast one, and a few other teams, obviously, as well. The Bulldogs, GWS. But this Fremantle midfield is really, really good. I think all 3 of them are capable of being in the top 20 midfielders in the competition. Tom Green from GWS is number 10. He was fantastic last season, as he has been the last few years. Finn Callahan's probably catching him in terms of GWS inside mids, but I think Tom Green's still slightly ahead at the moment. Rankin, we spoke about him with Jordan Dawson. Can rack them up, can go forward, kick goals, freakish goals. Here's a gun. Another big year, very big year ahead for Rankin, I think. Bailey Smith, number 12 from Geelong. Looking at last season, most people probably think he's a bit higher. His ball use isn't fantastic. He's a really good player. He's an accumulator. He does his role really well. He's like the accumulator, while most of the time Maxi Holmes is that class finishing talent. 13, Caleb Sarong. This guy probably would be in conversations for Brownlows at unlucky players not to be a little bit more good in the Brownlow, I think, across his career. A really, really good accumulator, clearance winner, just as most Fremantle midfielders are. Errol Gordon, outside mid that can play inside mid, missed the first half of last year. I think he is capable of being a top 3 midfielder in the competition. He racks them up, absolutely. He uses the ball really well. You want him using the ball, kicking it inside 50. Big season ahead for Errol if he can stay fit. Hugh McCluggage, probably the first half of last year was Brisbane's best midfielder by an age. Maybe a couple others caught him up in that second half, but his first half of the year was fantastic. His final series was good. A really good year from him, career best year. I think Will Day, injuries galore, and he's copped more injuries in this pre-season, but we've still got him 16th on this list. His class and ability has been shown. When we get those glimpses of him playing in between injuries, he's a really, really good player. Isaac Heaney, this time last year, 2024, he was the second highest rated player in the competition behind Marcus Bontempelli. Last year, perhaps not quite as good. I do think Errol's probably going to be slightly higher than him. And there's also the chance that Chad Warner could be as well. Brodie Grundy was huge for them last year. So the Sydney midfield engine room is really, really good. And this is nothing against Isaac Heaney. He could be a top 5 player again this year. He is an absolute gun. Same can be said for Zach Merritt. He's 18th on this list. He can rack up the touches. He can kick goals. Obviously, very talked about off-season for him. But I think he'll be pretty committed to making amends, I guess, for that sort of all the controversy around that this year. So a big season coming up for him and for the Bombers. It's a very young Bombers team, but he's an absolute gun seal. Cozzy Pickett from Melbourne. He plays a lot of forward time, but he also can play midfield. Probably plays a lot of midfield time this year. Obviously, Clary and Christian Petrarca both leaving the club. Puts a little bit more pressure, I think, on Pickett here. But I think he's certainly capable of succeeding at that. He's an absolute gun. He can turn a game on his own very, very quickly. And number 20 is someone that a lot of people probably think will be a top 5 midfielder within the next couple of years. He's not that far off it, to be honest, at the moment. I mean, he had a 54 touch game or something down in Hobart last year. He can rack up the ball. There's just, I don't know what it is stopping him from getting to that top 5 midfield role, whether it's just the team winning some more games, but I think he needs to be the catalyst of that, the winning games. He's a high draft pick that gets a lot of touches, getting towards that peak of his peak age where you should be getting your best development. So I think a big couple of years coming up for Harry Sheezel, and he's going to be very important if they are going to be pushing towards finals football. Final position is our ruckman. We got Max Gawn on top again. This might be the year he finally gets dethroned as the best ruckman in the competition. Tristan Cherry was very close last year, just didn't quite manage to do it. So Max Gawn stays number 1. Tristan Cherry number 2 for us. Fantastic year from him. Darcy Cameron in 3rd. He was the best intercept ruckman in the competition last year. He reads the ball really well. He positions himself really well. And he was fantastic last year as he won Collingwood's best and fairest and really took us another step forward in his development. So still a few years left in him. We'll see how that plays out if he can stay in that top 3 or 4 ruckman. Luke Jackson, probably one of the biggest game breakers on this list here. He can play so many different roles. He can be ruckman. He can be a inside mid. He can be forward. He could be an outside runner. He just has so many different weapons, and he could definitely be the number 1 ruckman this year. I could see it happening. Brodie Grundy, number 5, coming off probably his best year since 2019 last year. He really was fantastic. His first 4 or 5 weeks were okay, and then he just took his game to another level throughout the rest of the season. Tim English, one of the best tap ruckmen in the competition. for the Bulldogs. I think set an AFL record, or certainly an AFL record over the last few seasons of most score involvements in a game. In like round 6 or 7 last year when he had 19, I think. That number might be completely wrong. It's been a while since I looked at him, but he's a very good player. Sam Draper is the big one on this one, and for once we actually put the right team, so go me. But then Tom De Koning, I've put the wrong team, so go figure. But Sam Draper, Brisbane, it's a big season for him. Obviously got injured very early last year. If he can stake the claim as Brisbane's number one ruckman and do it really well, his numbers could be huge. I don't know what to make of him so far as a footballer, but he's certainly capable of doing some crazy things. So we'll see how that shapes up. At a team that's really, really good and successful in Brisbane, might take him to another level. Lloyd Meek, Hawthorn's number one ruck. He's fantastic last year. He took some big scalps in the head-to-heads, beat quite a few of the people above him in games, but he also has a tendency to have a few more quieter games than some of the others. Rowan Marshall from St Kilda and Tom De Koning also from St Kilda. Ignore the fact that one says Carlton. This is probably the biggest talking point on this list here, is how do these two ruckmen play together? Do they split the ruck time? Does one play mainly forward? I don't think either of them are better as a forward than they are as ruck. I think they're both better as rucks. Will that chemistry work? We'll see. Obviously, the last time two really good ruckmen were at the same team that both wanted ruck minutes was Max Gawn and Brodie Grundy a couple of years ago at Melbourne, and that just didn't work. Obviously, this dynamic could be completely different. We've got to wait and see, but I am very interested to see how that plays out. I'm not convinced it will shape up well, but we'll see, I guess. Basically, long and the short of it, we have to wait and see. It's a waiting game on that one. Both capable of being top 5-6 ruckmen in the competition, so we'll see what happens there. That is the end of this episode. Bit of a different one. First up for the year. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Before you go, don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button depending what platform you're on. As you can see on the screen, we have plenty of different social medias and content areas to go find us. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Blue Sky, which isn't on that list. It's all Aussie Rules everywhere. Should be able to find us. Just look for the All Aussie Rules logo. Pretty much that sums it up. That's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, jump in the comments below and let us know what you want to see from me at All Aussie Rules this year. I'm planning on putting even more time into it this year than I have previous years. I want to take this to the next level, so let me know your thoughts. I'm John. This is the All Aussie Rules football podcast for episode 1 of season 2026, which is our third season. Doing this, appreciate you, and I'll catch us next week on the next episode.